Our assassin is feeling pretty good about himself. He has completed a job perfectly and gotten revenge on the man who enslaved his family and set him on this dark path. His mood is diminished when he encounters Ripley on the road, who informs him he has less than 8 hours to eliminate his next target due to his actions. He enters the city of Highcastle and finds the palace undergoing renovations, so decides to disguise himself as a labourer. Next, he hires some working girls to distract the guards. But Plan A failed, so he has to switch to Plan B, murdering and impersonating a wagoner, which eats up precious time, but gets him past the guards. He sneaks around the palace, getting the layout and trying to find his mark. He eventually finds Lord Drooper, but kills the butler first and steals his identity. The disguise buys him the seconds he needs to get the drop on Lord Drooper and quickly severs his mortal coil. Unfortunately, the Lord's death rattle alerts his dwarven bodyguard, who storms into the room and catches our assassin red-handed. The assassin, not one to be easily flustered, quickly drinks an invisibility potion and climbs up into the rafters. More guards enter the room and begin a thorough search, forcing our assassin to move. The rafters creak and alert them to his location after their weapons find the nimble, invisible assassin. In a last desperate effort, our assassin tries to flee through the doorway, pushing past the guards stationed on the other side. He succeeds against all odds and flees the palace, leaving confusion and mayhem in his wake, stopping only to collect Sophie before disappearing into the wilds. What is next for our intrepid assassin? How will he fare in Waterdeep? Will Sophie get to live the life of luxury she desires? Let's find out now on Assassin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our final episode of Assassin. How are you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that.
No particular reason. God, now that you bring it up, I don't have any reason to feel good.
Isn't that all the more reason to feel good? Or isn't that all the better reason that you do feel good?
No, now I just feel like I was deceiving myself, and this is the last episode, which means I'm probably going to have to go on to find like activities that involve wearing pants.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah. Lifeguard, you don't have to wear pants to be a lifeguard.
That's true.
It's
okay.
True. You know, you just do like the Speedo bottom and the wife beater top. It's orange, so it's okay. And then the little dab of sunscreen on your nose.
I can swim. That should work.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Wednesday mornings taken care of.
$125,000 worth of student loans to become a lifeguard. I'm sure that will be financially feasible.
Yeah, I mean, you're saving people's lives, right? It's got to be a lucrative field. Otherwise, what are they going to do? Like, not pay you well to save people's lives? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a first responder. That's,
You're basically a doctor at that point, and doctors make a lot of money, so...
All right, well, there we go. I can't argue with that logic. I feel much better
now. So here we are in our final mission of Assassin, and it's going to be a little bit different. This is non-canon with the rest of the adventures we've had because we are moving out of Arcadia and out of Eridon and out of Highcastle. And
Are there worlds other than Neal world?
There are very large, vast, complicated, and detailed worlds like the world of the Forgotten Realms, where we will be staging today's mission.
Could they be as well written and detailed as Desu World?
That's a subjective opinion, really. I mean, some people out there might even say that they're better written and better designed than Arcadia. And those people might be, you know, it doesn't matter who they are,
right?
What they are. You know, it's really up to you to decide what is well written and great. And I think all of us here understand that Arcadia is a pretty sweet world to run around in. But that doesn't mean
it is up to me to decide. I'm an English major. Well, it was one of my majors, so I do get to decide those things.
You are the decider, Rob.
Yes.
You get to make those sorts of decisions. Yes. So we'll be in the Forgotten Realms. We will be in Waterdeep. Specifically, we're going to be in the Yawning Portal, a tavern located in Waterdeep that has this yawning portal. It is a 40-foot diameter. It looks sort of like a giant well entrance that goes just down hundreds of feet into the Undermountain. Big ass dungeon where only the strong should go in. You know, you hear tales about people going down into the Undermountain at level 6 and coming out at level 16 some months or years later. For our purposes today, we will not be going down into the Undermountain. Instead, our assassin is here for a particular reason. Let's not try and worry about the canon and the crossover and how the assassin from Arcadia gets to the Yawning Portal. Those details are beyond the scope of today's session. But what we do know is that there is a adventuring party that's planning on heading down to the Undermountain. It is being financed by this young, noble elf woman. And she's hired these bigger, stronger, braver adventurers to kind of go down with her and keep her safe while she searches for some rumored lost treasures of her family down there. Her big, badass bodyguard adventurers who are going to take her down here are off gathering supplies and will be back in about 2 hours to take her down into the Undermountain, where you will never see her again. You have been hired by a mysterious figure who we won't name right now to put an end to Cindy Cinders before her adventuring party gets here and they all go off never to be seen from again. So, here you are at the top of the Yawning Portal.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, time to find and kill Cindy Cinders.
All right, so just a question about this portal. Is there a ledge around this? Do they have a railing? Are they just relying on, like, what are those little stand-up signs that says to be careful?
There is a lip around this, maybe waist height, like a well might have in a town square or something. And that is demarked by the stone edge here. So that is waist-high stone wall. Other than that, people can indeed just fall in and fall presumably to their deaths.
That'd be unfortunate.
It would be unfortunate. The other part of that unfortunateness is that if, you know, someone was seen pushing someone else in there, the pusher probably wouldn't last very long. You know. This is a tavern full of adventurers here, and they might have something to say if someone gets, like, shoved down to their death.
But if somebody was, I don't know, mopping the floor and it got slippery.
You know, mistakes happen, and we are all responsible for our own lives. And if you don't notice that a floor is slippery and therefore don't pay enough attention and slip and tumble and hit the waist-high wall just below the center of your gravity, and it tilts you forward and you tumble hundreds of feet, and then someone recovers your body later, that's on you.
Yeah, I think it's been, people are talking about how unsafe it is to have like something like that in a place where people get drunk. And that's what people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real danger out there, but we here at the Yawning Portal are firm believers in radical responsibility. It is your job to keep yourself safe in your daily life, and if you don't do a good job of it, well, you will face those consequences.
Indeed. All right.
Let's see. So, any questions before we go forward? Poisons. You will have access to buy any of the poisons you want. Your handler, Ripley, is standing just outside the front door where you're walking in right now and can go and fetch you supplies that you might need, but you are otherwise limited to the inside of the Yawning Portal for the duration of the storyline.
Oh, wow. That's information that would have been good to know ahead of time so I could plan which ingestion poisons I could easily make use of.
Sounds like you already know exactly what you want to do.
No, it sounds like it would have been good to have some time to go over the ingestion poisons.
Okay, I can never tell if you're being sarcastic or serious. Like, I don't know what to do. There's poisons. Whatever. You've seen the list. We've gone over them before. You know what's happening here. So let's get the soundtrack of the bar going. And leave you to your devices.
What do I know about Cindy Cinders?
You will know her when you see her. Her name is marked underneath her token. But I will tell you all the other little details you might already know. She is where's her character sheet? She is a high elf fighter who specializes in longbows. She is a noble of the Cinder family here, or Cinder's family here, town. And is, how do we want to say? Elves live a long time, and she's fairly young and fairly inexperienced. She's here, or will be here with bodyguards who are more capable, and she will be relying on their expertise to keep her safe while she travels down. So you know that she's fairly low level, probably somewhere around 3. And any other details, any other information you would like about her?
What are these things here?
Those are
thermal
pillars.
exhaust ports?
No, those are pillars that help hold up the ceiling. Okay. Yes.
I said there were an awful lot of thermal exhaust ports.
Well, there's a lot of heat coming out of the Underdark, you know? Not Underdark, Undermountain.
Under Armour. Oh, there I am. Okay. Wondering where the POV was coming from. Oh, I don't want to get too close to that portal myself. I'll come over here, I can see part of the target's tag.
You recognize her from a distance, even before you can see all of her.
Fortunate that everybody in Waterdeep has a name hovering over their heads.
Well, it's this new policy put forward by the mayor to make the town more friendly and appealing to tourists. So everyone in town now must walk around with a little ID badge. So that way people can see each other and know each other, and, that way it'll be less intimidating to tourists when there's, giant statues walking around keeping the place safe. But the statues have a little label that says, "Hi, my name's Frank. Ask me about Waterdeep."
I heard that the IDs change color depending on their level compared to yours. Like if they're way higher level than yours, they turn red, so you shouldn't mess with them.
Yeah. This is true. What does your little name tag say?
Well, since this is the end, let's go back to the beginning. And mine will say, "Hello, my name is Leonardo."
Ah, lovely. Okay. Well, here you are. Yawning Portal is a nice big tavern. There's food, there's drinks. Rumor is that the bartender is a high-level adventurer with a magic two-handed sword hanging out behind his bar. So maybe, be cool. Robbery.
All right. So I'm coming over, peeking at the Yawning Portal like a tourist.
Mm-hmm.
Strolling on by, and I try to get a glimpse at Cindy Cinders to see what I can tell about her.
Well, there she is. She's sitting on the bench. She has a suit of leather armor. That's the assassin. That's not Cindy Cinders. Here's Cindy Cinders. She has some leather armor. She's got a very fine-looking longbow. It has like a piece of silver for the bowstring itself. The wood looks like it's maybe like mahogany mixed with redwood. It's like a composite bow of layered wood together. And mahogany and redwood don't actually make very good bows, so that this is a functioning bow when it's made out of these materials leads you to believe maybe it's magically imbued in some way, shape, or form. She's got a quiver, a bunch of arrows, a long sword and a short sword, a crossbow bolt, a light crossbow with a little bolt case next to her, a backpack at her side with like ropes and torches sticking out of it. She's looking into the fireplace just above her, sipping on a cup of wine, slowly sipping on a cup of wine, and just taking it in, just resting and relaxing before her big adventure.
She has both a longbow and a crossbow?
Yes, longbow and a light crossbow at the side, just in case.
You have like a 10-foot pole and like pretty much anything else a total noob adventurer would have on them, just be like over geared.
It sort of looks like that, yeah. Her backpack is busting at the seams. You can see that there's probably way more gear in here than she might need. She's definitely got like 10 torches sticking out, and then there's like a flask of oil on the side, and maybe 100 feet of rope, a couple of water skins, it's freaking noob. Just take the lantern and the oil, not all 10 torches, or like two or like maybe 4 torches and some oil to refill them or something.
Or remember she has dark vision and don't take a lantern.
Right, or let her big burly escorts do that, whatever. They're not here. She is. We got some time.
All right, I'm still level 7, correct?
Yes, we did not level you up for no particular reason, actually.
All right. So grand total of 31 hit. And I used up my
Oh, that's right.
potion.
No more invisibility potion.
All right. So I can see her there. Time to survey the room a bit.
Yeah.
So I walk on by.
Walk on by. There's some rogues and monks hanging out. There's a cleric chatting with some people. One of the barmaids brings some food by. Gives you a half-hearted smile. The smile of an employee in the service industry who makes a living off of tips and is not being tipped very well. You can see the disgruntled expression on her face that says, "Why don't you just pay me a living wage? We can do away with this tipping nonsense." It's a holdover from a very different era a long, long time ago.
And very particular to the continent that redwood comes from.
Weird stuff. All that passes across her face in the blink of an eye, and she continues her duty.
All right. Well, I choose. I've killed many people, many of them innocent and in cold blood. But even I know not to hit on a service person who is on duty here, because that's just sucks and is a jerky thing to do. All right, I see a scholar, I see a laborer, I see a cleric. Looking around. Oh, those stairs
go up to the second floor, but our adventures are confined to the first floor of this tavern because there was no second floor map. So it is a black, empty void up there that will instantly steal your soul should you venture up those stairs. You'll just fall off the edge of the campaigning world, and that'll be that.
Like a Bed, Bath, and Beyond without the bed and bath part. All right.
Yes. I guess. It's just the Beyond. There is an ogre barbarian who has apparently broken the table he was going to be sitting at and is now sheepishly trying to hide the broken table underneath his large mass. I
nod to Wiglaf. Or Wiglafs.
Wiglaf says nothing this time, surprisingly. It's quite unusual for him.
I recognize him as a very well played and conceived character.
It was perfect. It's everything his party needed him to be. I mean, nothing his party needed him to be, but was a lot of fun.
Alright. So, can't go to the upstairs. Booths are all taken.
Yeah.
Do any of these booths have like curtains or anything? Oh, I suppose.
These are the privies. There are closable doors, here and here and here and here and here. There's a lot of doors there that can be closed to keep the smell out of the general tavern and to give people some semblance of privacy.
And to allow me to change clothes.
Yes, if
and
needed.
Appearance. All right, that's kind of what I was looking for. If there was somewhere, anywhere I could. Oh, what's over here?
It's more
privy.
Yeah.
If there's anywhere I could change appearance.
This painter seems to be painting an image of the Yawning portal, as if he's just looking at it and doing some things, and you can see like little sketches of where he might add people in later. This bard over here is playing a 3-stringed lute and gives you a half-hearted smile, and then a look of concern passes over his face as he goes to pluck the missing 4th string and mildly curses to himself and tries to start the song over again.
All right. I look at the painter's work.
You perceive it.
All right, and I look at it for a bit and I nod, and then pointing to just over the portal, I ask him, "Are you going to include that demon thing?"
The demon thing?
I point over there, over the portal.
He looks across.
I mean, what other demon thing would I be talking about?
He's looking around. Which demon thing? I don't see it.
The one hovering right over there, observing us all. Again, I point right over the portal. You do not perceive it?
I don't see what you're... Oh, are you having one? Are you having a good laugh at me? There's no demons in here. Right?
I look a little...
Right?
Of course not. You really can't see it.
Perhaps you could point to it with your ruler or measuring tool so I could see exactly what you're looking at. But no, I don't see any demons.
Oh.
Do you mean that dragonborn fighter? The scaly man.
So, I assume that you and I both know what a dragonborn looks like.
Well, yeah, but
if you can't perceive it, it probably can't perceive you either. I say, and I'll move on. You probably don't need to worry about it.
The artist begins to sweat.
Guess I'll complete my circuit.
This is a fireplace over here. I know it looks like a bubbling pit of lava, but it's a fireplace.
All right. And we got a wolf.
Yep, hanging out between a couple of druids.
All right. Anything? Let's see. It's over that fire pit. Now I probably can't noticeably burn the whole place down as a distraction.
Probably wouldn't work. You know, a lot of clerics and wizards in here. If fire got out of hand, I think a lot of create water spells might go off and douse whatever it was that was problematic.
Well, as I said, as a distraction.
Might work. You never know. Give it a shot.
Probably not a good idea. I think I have too much experience with inns that have plot armor.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to duck into a lavatory, close the door, and I shall quickly change into my my bard outfit.
All right. Everything changes about real quick, and you can step out in your bard's outfit.
All right. I'll have my lute ready. I'll pull Sophie from my pack and perch her up on my shoulder.
Okay. Sophie is sitting on your shoulder, observing the tavern around her. Look at all these people.
All right. With my high dex, I walk as steadily as I can so that Sophie feels completely comfortable up there. I'm sure I'm quite used to doing that. And where is the barmaid? Oh, she's over there. Is she busy taking an order?
Well, she's trying to, but the dwarves haven't decided what to order yet, and she's about to leave, and one of them's like, hold on, I think we've got it. All right, I'll have the roast. Well, actually, maybe I won't have the pig. And she's like rolling her eyes and kind of waiting for the dwarves to figure out what they want to eat.
All right. I shall head over to the bartender then.
Okay.
A certain amount of time is of the essence.
Yeah. He'll make room as you come up and lean in between the rogue and the messenger, who will scoot apart a little bit.
All right.
What can I get for you?
Is the barmaid using like one of those big platters for carrying food and everything?
Yes, she is.
Do I see any around here on the counter or close by?
Yeah, there are some platters back here on one of these shelfy thingies.
All right, then I guess I should go ahead and start spending my money. This is the last episode. Or maybe I should get some.
Sir?
So why don't we start with a honey mead, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Right away. He reaches under the counter, taps something there, comes back a few moments later with a flagon of honey mead. Tells you it'll be 4 silver, which you can pay, and
Yes. All right.
goes back to his business.
So, let's see. Trying to remember the poison sheet here. Are there any? Trying to remember all the various poisons. Is there anything that's just simply a diuretic?
Is that a pun, meaning like take it and die? Or do you mean like actual technical diuretic?
A technical diuretic.
Okay.
Since all the things that were like take it and die were like, you must have this many doses and actually have any impacts. And...
Right, so a diuretic, if I'm not mistaken, is something that urges the imbiber to urinate?
Yes.
So that might be in the... Let's see. I don't think we have any diuretics, actually. We have things that will make them uncomfortable, things that can irritate people. But irritate is just like hit penalties of 2. Are you trying to get someone to run to the bathroom?
That does seem like the only place where I could conceivably pull off an assassination without being seen. Unless I could trick somebody going upstairs. Let's see. A lot of these poisons are ingested, aren't they?
Yeah, many of them are. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 ingested.
Okay, they're all in a row. They're the hemotoxin, 2 narcotics, a neurotoxin, and a necrotic. All right, what does that hemotoxin do? I mean, that's...
The type A. It is sort of a low DC and a really long onset time. Actually, it's a 12-hour onset time.
Yeah, we don't want that then.
Yeah.
Okay, the real...
You want something with a short onset time.
All right.
See, the narcotics would prompt her to be drowsy or sleepy, and that might be useful for you.
All right. Maybe just to get her guard down. And then our other options are the neurotoxin and the necrotic. The neurotoxin is hours. Or is it? Onset time is 30 minutes.
30 minutes, yeah. That could be useful, but it's really unlikely to do too much to her. It's most likely just going to irritate her, which would probably take the effect of an upset stomach, maybe some puking in this situation. It would be like nausea from ingesting toxic mushrooms or plants.
Which could get her to the bathroom.
That might work. High chance to irritate, too. Quite high.
Ingestion. The necrotic does what now? Reduces strength? What does it do? I see strength. That's the strength of the...
Yeah, the strength is how much damage it would do every 10 minutes. So you would need to make a saving throw or take 3 points of damage. That would, and with the sour root, that would be like sort of like an internal problems, maybe like an ulcer sort of situation where her stomach lining starts to weaken and bleed. I think, did you see The Hateful Eight?
I did not.
Oh.
And I consider myself a better person.
Oh, are you not a Tarantino fan?
Oh wait, I was thinking of wasn't there a
Ridiculous
Adam Sandler?
Six? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
No, not the Ridiculous Six. The Hateful Eight, the Tarantino Western.
Okay, I did not see it, but I would infinitely prefer to see a Tarantino movie than Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Although there's things that I've actually liked him in, but I think he's just not even trying anymore.
That was a long, long time ago. There were a few good things once upon a time.
Now, I think he just like tries to make movies at places that he'd like to go on vacation at.
I think he's just like having a lot of fun, and his style is really not my style, but he just like runs around having a good time making silly movies. Which, despite not enjoying the films he makes, I sort of respect and back. Good for you, Adam Sandler. You can make ridiculous films. Good job.
All right, so back to, let's see, this was the neurotoxin. That's the one onset 30 minutes that.
Yeah, the belladonna or the death cap mushrooms. In about half an hour, she would be feeling the effects of eating something her system knows to be poisonous.
They and multiple doses will increase the difficulty or the likelihood.
Yes.
Let's go with. I guess I'll go out and. How many doses does Ripley have available?
There is a merchant nearby at this underground. You know, she didn't really tell you what it was, but there's some sort of underground organization that does assassinations that will assassinate people for the right price, and that's sort of who you're a contractor through, and they will provide whatever you need. So you can get as much as you reasonably need. You know, like 5 doses would be not a problem to.
All right, so where is the DC on this? I'm looking at.
So the DC
I guess
for
it's
being
type D.
Yeah, so the DC for killing would be 6, incapacitating would be 8, debilitating would be 10, and irritating would be 30. So unlikely to kill, incapacitate, or debilitate unless she takes like 3 doses. Highly likely to irritate regardless of what she takes.
All right. I'm just trying to drive her to the bathroom. To puke up or something. So puking up would probably be debilitate?
Irritate. Yeah, debilitate is specifically stats and speeds are reduced to 2/3. Hit AC and initiative penalties of 5. That's like you are badly wounded or badly injured or somehow definitely not out of it. Being irritated is just kind of like you feel nauseous and your attacks and maybe some of your skills are going to be a little bit off because you're so kind of like debilitate is really bad. You know, that's your whole body's functioning at 60%.
All right, let's go with 2 doses of type D.
2 doses of type D. So you're going to give her a double dose, which will increase the DC by 5.
Actually, how much does this cost?
It's going to cost you.
It's
I don't know.
common.
Here we go. If you get the death cap ones, because the belladonna is going to have a deep purple color, it'll be 2,000 copper for 2 doses. So 20 gold.
All right, I can afford that. 20 gold it is then.
All right. These mushrooms, you can either get her to eat the mushroom regularly, or you can make a tea out of it, or any way of infusing it into the food through like a steeping process. Could easily be added to a stew.
What about to an ale?
Could probably go to an ale, yeah. You need to find a way to steep the mushrooms in the ale for a little while. Hot beverages are better for that, but it can be done with cold. You also need a good, a moment to really let them soak through. Maybe
All right.
Chop them up and press them into the water a little bit.
Okay. Privacy is going to be a concern for that, however.
Privacy, you mean?
Oh, we're getting fancy
I was
for our European audience with our fake accents.
I was just
Probably
trying to...
extremely insulting to them.
I just meant that there's privacy in the privy. But yes.
All right. Let me see. I think like almost all of these booths except for one was full, wasn't it?
There are many booths.
That there was only one that was like completely empty.
Yeah, this one back up here is empty. This one over here is empty, and this area back here is empty. They all have varying levels of privacy.
Isn't there a warlock over there?
No, the warlock is in the one above. His nameplate is just
okay.
overflowing.
Goddamn clipping warlock.
Breaking the rules of physics.
These name tags are defective. All right, so
You
am going to
damn.
I'm gonna go get go back over to the bartender here.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, my good man, in an adventurous bar like this, seems like I should be adventurous in my drink also. With a yawning portal over there, I imagine you have quite a variety of the strange, the exotic, maybe things as far away as Sigillian rum.
You know, as sure as my
What do you
name
have?
is Durnan, we have Sigillian rum. We have practically anything you can get in these parts of Waterdeep and this part of the Forgotten Realms.
What do you suggest then? Something exotic, something that the typical Waterdavian tongue would find strange and new.
Spicy vodka. We have a whole bunch of it. It's vodka infused with very, very strong spicy flavors. You might ask, why would anyone want to do shots of spicy vodka? I don't know. But it exists, and it's a real thing. It comes from my friends over in the deserty area back east. Or west, or some direction from here. Spicy vodka.
Perhaps someone had vodka and thought, this is foul. Anything that changes the flavor has got to be better than the original.
Maybe. I don't know if they succeeded, but you asked for exotic and unusual, so spicy vodka it is for you.
I say, don't know if I want to do shots, because it's just so quick. I'd like to savor something. Do you have something more, an ale, a wine, a beer, a mead that's exotic?
Yes, we have Dave's Insane Wine. It's a wine infused with hot peppers.
Wine infused with hot peppers?
Yeah, yes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And a little paprika, too.
Because that sounds perfect.
He pours out a bottle, dusts it off. Clearly it's been here a long time since it's been, and hasn't been opened yet. And kind of cleans it off a little bit, uncorks it, and begins to pour you one glass and looks at you.
I say, actually, how much is the bottle?
5 gold pieces for the whole bottle.
5 gold pieces, a platter, and 2 mugs.
It is done.
Is this the type of place where pretty much everything comes in a mug, or are they going to be like, oh, you fool, you have a wine glass for wine?
It depends on who you are and what you're doing. You know, if they think you might be likely to break the wine glass because you're a little rowdy or drunk, they'll probably give you a mug. You can get it in whatever vessel you'd like. Do you want wine glasses or do you want mugs?
I would like mugs. They'll help change or keep the color.
You get
dark.
2 wooden mugs.
All right. I will pay the man and take my mugs and platter, and I'll like carefully balance them and walk on by. Oh! This would have been unforgivable. I go back to the barkeeper.
Yes?
Do you have fish?
We do. We have salmon and bass and catfish, and we don't have any more goldfish. We're all out of that. And we have swordfish and
Catfish sounds perfect.
wonderful. He orders 1 catfish for you, and it'll be
Doesn't
out.
need to be cooked, just raw. It's for my friend.
He goes back to the kitchen and brings you back half a catfish.
All
Well,
right.
actually, he brings a catfish cut in half and lets you pick if you want the front end or the back end.
I look at Sophie. Does she express any preference?
All you have is catfish? Really? No halibut or tuna? Fine. I'll have the front end. I like to look at my food before I eat it.
I say she likes to see the look of terror in the eyes of her prey before she consumes it. We'll take the front end.
You get the front end of a catfish on a separate platter.
And a small bowl of milk. Or cream. Cream, sorry.
You get an approving nod from Sophie, and a bowl of cream is added to the platter.
All right. So now with my... Do you have any cheeses?
Yes. Do you prefer good cheese or stinky cheese?
Good cheese.
He gives you a block of cheddar.
All right. And, maybe some... Do you have any crackers?
He pours there's a little basket filled with those little hexagonal oyster crackers that you get in your clam chowder. He gets a whole bunch of those and puts them on your plate too.
Ah, all right. Well, these will do. Thank you very much. I will head over to...
Do you need Bonnie to help you with that, sir?
No, I have it. Again, walking very carefully, as I'm prone to do, with Sophie perched on my shoulder anyway. I'm guessing with my dexterity, I can balance my way over here.
Yeah, not a problem.
And I will sit down. I will go ahead and pour myself a All right, so I will put, with some sleight of hand, after putting my lute and my bow and my rapier in their bundles across the end of the table here to help obscure things, and I'll kind of sit back in the corner. I'll first, munch on the cheese and crackers a bit, and then I will pour... First, I'll slip the the mushrooms into the mug.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will pour the wine into the mug as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
What's it going to take to get a good infusion going here?
Probably, dice up the mushrooms a little bit or squish them in the wine. You want the wine to flow through the mushrooms and pull out the toxins for
right.
consumption. So somehow just really, get it going.
All right. So I guess before I put the mushrooms into the mug, then on one corner of the platter, and I will put a little notch in the platter with my daggers to know which corner that was. Well, I guess not a corner because it's probably a round platter.
Right.
Which arc that is. I will dice up the mushrooms with my magic dagger. Will I munch on some of the crackers and things so it just looks like, oh yeah, he's having mushrooms are probably just some food that he had.
Right. Make sure you don't, eat with the same hands that you're dicing up the mushrooms. You wouldn't want the same problems to befall you. Okay.
And once I'm done, I'm trying to use the dagger blade to handle everything.
Mm-hmm.
And once I've got that all diced up, again, I'm looking around. I'm trying to be very stealthy about all this. Light of handy, not have anybody notice. I will use the dagger, kind of push the mushrooms into the mug.
Mm-hmm.
And pour a nice big mugful.
Now, are there going to be mushrooms floating in the mug that you hand over? Or are you, dicing the mushrooms in one thing and fusing it in one thing and then pouring just the fluid into the mug?
That's the plan, is to try to pour the fluid back into the bottle once it's had some time to infuse.
Got it. So you'll take, the whole bottle, mix it all up. So are you poisoning the whole bottle then?
I haven't poisoned it yet.
Right. So I just want to know how much fluid these two doses are being put with. Because you'll have to drink all the fluid that is intoxicated or that is poisoned to get the full effect of the poison. So if you poison the whole bottle, right, then it'd be 2 doses of poison if she drinks the whole bottle.
Let's go ahead and make it 3/4 of this nice big mug.
All right.
And I will just take from the bottle before this has been mixed in.
Mm-hmm.
The wine that's getting poisoned is in the mug. I'll drink down the actually before I pour. No, I guess I'll just drink the rest while it's infusing. I'll drink the wine that's in the bottle.
Mm-hmm. Do you drink the wine in the bottle?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I will go ahead and let that infuse for a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's infusing.
All right. How long will that take?
I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Let it sit.
All right. While that's happening, I will gesture to the barmaid.
Sure. She comes on over to where you're sitting. Hi, I'm Bonnie. What can I get for you?
This insanity wine is great. Can I get another mug?
Of course.
Wonderful.
Are you sure you're enjoying the insanity wine?
Am I not supposed to?
You just have different taste buds than I do, I suppose. I would be happy to fetch you another mug. She quickly hurries off, surprised that you're enjoying the hot pepper and paprika infused wine. because who in their right mind would want spicy wine?
All right. And I will actually set the mug that's being infused by my side, kind of in the corner here, down on the ground, so that it's not obvious. Like, hey, you've already got a mug of wine.
Mm-hmm.
I should have thought of that before, but I'm sure she's just busy being a barmaid.
Yeah, and she's not going to ask. Maybe you got one of them dirty. Maybe one of them came dirty, Who knows what you're doing, but she's not. She's just here to do her job. She brings you a mug. Anything else?
No, that's wonderful. How much is that?
For the mug? You're not keeping it, right?
Or the another mug of wine that you brought me.
Oh, I thought you wanted just a clean mug. No, yeah. So she'll give you another mug of wine. It's another 5 silver for it.
All right, I will slide over a whole gold piece.
She gives you a smile and a bob of the head, maybe a half-assed curtsy, and hurries off towards the ogre, who's calling for, "Barmaid! Barmaid! The table is stabbing me!" And goes to deal with the ogre, who's getting splinters in his legs.
All right. Even while you're killing people, it's important to tip your serving staff well.
Of course, yeah. Should be done.
All right.
I think we're here at about the 3rd waypoint through the show, so we're going to take our break here after this wine has been poisoned, but before it's been delivered. And when we come back, we will see if this goes as smoothly as the last few murders have gone.
Something tells me no.
Well, we'll see you on the other side of our break, everyone. Bye-bye.
Our assassin is feeling pretty good about himself. He has
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Assassin. Here we are in the tavern. The spicy wine is infused with deathcap mushrooms, a double dosage. And you said it was in 3/4 of the bottle?
3/4 of a mug.
3/4 of a mug. Got it.
So that's all that's in the bottle now.
Right.
The bottle is not full. It has 3/4 of a mug left. And I have a mug of that I just purchased of poisoned wine.
Right. And what are you doing with the rest of the wine that you had bought? Because you had bought the whole bottle, right?
I drunk it.
Okay. Okay, so you've had most of a bottle of wine by now.
Well, how big is this bottle? I mean,
It's a
I don't
wine
want to.
bottle. You know, it's a regular, everyday wine bottle.
I mean, I don't want to drink enough that it's going to harm me in any, or well, not harm, but
No, it's. I mean,
I don't want to be like taking -2 for being inebriated or something.
I mean, you've had most of a bottle of wine in about an hour. That's
If it seems like an amount that's going to inebriate me. I mean, I've got. I mean, a wine bottle can mean many things, Neal. I've got.
really. There's not just one standard wine bottle. Oh. Well, I was thinking the one in your left hand, the clear one. Yeah, like a regular old wine bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was my graduation bottle, and this is going to be my get a job bottle. All right. So, if it seems like an amount that might actually inebriate me and give me minuses, then I will take a moment to stumble to the lavatory, which is right next to me, carrying the bottle, which is probably not that unusual in here, and pour most of the bottle down the loo so that I don't have to drink that much.
What a
of
waste.
This very expensive insanity wine.
What a waste. Okay. All right. It's done.
So in the end, I want to have a little bit of the wine on my breath, not have drunk enough to actually affect me. Have a bottle with 3/4 of a mug of infused wine. And my mug of untainted wine.
Okay. So you've got these things together, and you're sitting over in your corner.
And I look over at Sophie and I say, I don't really know how you're going to feel about this. I hope you're good with it. I take out one of the, I'll remove one of the ribbons that I have tied to my lute. And I'm going to tie it around Sophie's neck in like a big, fancy, showy bow. Okay. Then I will go ahead and stow my bow and my rapier across my back. And I've got my backpack. I look pretty adventurous. See, I'll have my lute out in one hand. I'll have Sophie on my shoulder. I'll put everything on the platter, all like very close to the center. Have especially the heaviest things to keep a good center of balance. So I'm not going to be like, whoa, and spill it easily. And I am going to kind of stumble my way. Not really stumbling too much, but looking a little bit inebriated. Over this way, I'll share a couple of words with the ranger and the fighter. Hey, what are you guys doing? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, they'll
How
say
are
a few
things?
words, give you a wave, maybe a high five as you walk past.
I hope not. I'm carrying a platter and a loot.
Well, it is a gnoll and a dragonborn. There might be a bit of troublemakers.
All right. Same thing with the cleric and the rogue. Oh, that's an unusual combination.
The cleric gives you a stern look and says, "I'm teaching these two a lesson for their moral shortcomings. Would you care to join?"
No, I'm quite fond of my shortcomings. I have no wish to get rid of them.
The rogue and the monk give a good chortle, and the cleric kind of turns from you in a huff and begins to proselytize them about why they should be good people and stop stealing things and beating up people in the streets for money. And they
All right.
patiently sit and listen.
And this last part, I'm kind of doing it loud so that she can hear. And I'll say to the rogue, "That's right. No more stealing from the poor box. That's his job."
Comes the monk.
He doesn't
and
like the competition. And I'll kind of stumble over this way and just sort of plop down in the chair, kind of facing the fire a bit. And I'll set my platter down and I'll pet Sophie.
Cindy looks over at you and sees the cat with the big bow and immediately reaches out a hand for Sophie, who takes a stroll down your shoulder, down your leg, decides if she wants to hop down to the floor today, tomorrow. I guess I'll just do it today. Hops down and casually strolls over, flicking her tail back and forth and weaving in and out of the posts underneath Cindy's chair as she goes down to scratch.
Mhm.
Cindy looks up at you and says, "Take it this is your cat? What's its name?"
Well, her name is Sophie, but she's not my cat. I think she prefers to think of me as her human.
Oh, of course. Hello there, Sophie. Would you like to introduce me to your human? Sophie says nothing and just keeps wandering around. Oh.
I said, well, if she won't do the honors, allow me to introduce myself. Leonardo.
I can see by your name tag. I'm Cindy, she says, and reaches out to shake your hand.
All right, I do so. And
What
I
brings
say,
you
well,
to the Yawning Portal? Are you here to head down to the Undermountain?
Oh yes. I hold up my lute a bit. I'm a little something of a bard, and I'm hoping to find some good tales to tell. I say, that I'm giving myself a good send-off for good luck here. And I gesture to the wine in my mug and everything. And I'll take a pull from my mug.
She reaches for her glass and cheerses with you and goes to finish off what little is left in there because it's the same glass she's been sipping since you first walked in an hour ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the rest of my party to show up. They should have our supplies, and we'll be heading down fairly soon. I'm actually getting
You're going...
butterflies in my stomach. I haven't been down before.
Oh, you're going too, are you? Well then. Mm-hmm. You must have some of this insanity wine. And
Insanity
I'll shout for... Well, she's got a...
Right.
It's like... Say, oh yes, only the best. I mean, if you want adventure, there's nothing like insanity wine. After you've had it, the Undermountain won't seem like anything at all.
Well, maybe. I am a little nervous. I'm also a little I don't want to be unsteady on my feet when we head down that way. But a little liquid courage might be useful.
Are you sure you can handle it? I mean, the Undermountain is one thing. Insanity wine is something else.
Why do they call it insanity wine?
Uh, I don't know. It is a bit spicy, but I don't know if I would call it insane. It's only for people of a certain fortitude.
Insane. Who would spice wine? Do you mean like spiced wine, like apple cider spiced wine?
I said, well, we could talk about it, or you could try it. I'll say.
She nods and reaches out her glass for you to add to it.
All right,
It's empty.
I add to it. I fill it up, and I'll take a pull off my unpoisoned wine,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll pull out my lute and start just kind of tooling around on it a bit. Just little random melodies, kind of enough to show that I can do more than play Stairway,
Right.
but not actually playing a song.
Okay.
I say,
go ahead.
so what's your tale then? If you're going down to the Undermountain, perhaps is there something in there that I can write a song about?
Well, my uncle, my father's brother-in-law. He's a human. Has his father went down to the Undermountain some decades ago with their prized family heirloom. It was a pearl that would allow one to see over great distances, a scrying pearl. It was stuck in the hilt of his sword, and that way he could draw his sword and, see what was around the corner. My uncle's father lost it down there, along presumably with his life. And before my uncle passes, because human, he's quite old now. He wanted to retrieve it and give it to his daughter to kind of keep it within the family. So that is what I'm doing. I'm heading down there looking for the other side of the family's lost heirloom to try and bring it back and keep it with everyone.
I thought you said she was an elf. Is she a half elf?
She's an elf, but her father's brother-in-law is a human. His father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, her aunt married a human.
I go, I say sometimes it's. Yeah, well, not many people know this, but sometimes we alter the stories a bit to make them a little easier to tell, a little less confusing. All this father's brother-in-law, etc. Would you object if I just made it your father?
Fine, that's fine. Yes.
All right, and why
I mean,
not
anything's gonna be
make him an
better.
elven lord?
Oh, certainly. I mean, my father, my family line is nobility down all the way through and through. Yes. My aunt married below her status in many, many ways, but she did it out of love and instead of out of greed, and I respect that.
Love. Without it, I can't say that I would even have a profession.
Well, you'd certainly would at least be. He kind of looks over at the bard with the 3 strings on his lute. I'm certain you'll do better than this. This song about a restaurant on Thanksgiving is just. It's hardly a song. He's really just speaking. I don't know what all this talk about being a litter bug is and garbage off a cliff, but it's something.
And I'm playing, on my lute as we go. I don't know if I would entirely put down singing. There are some bards that make quite a good living and quite an art out of speaking. There's an old bard of my my acquaintance. Well, I'm acquainted with his work more than himself, actually. DMC, who is quite known for his music.
Perhaps, she says, sipping her wine. But this whole she's pointing toward the three strings barred across the way. This whole nonsense about scene of the crime, photos of the crime, blind justice. It's not relatable to me. I really have no idea what they're talking about.
Although, to be honest, I mean, I've never let that stop me from enjoying a song.
Really? Can you tell me what plaster tire tracks are, and footprints, and what's a dog smelling print? And what are 27 8x10 glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back one explaining what each one was?
I really couldn't tell you, but I don't know what Inagata Devita means either, and yet the song is wonderful.
She nods, appreciating your words of wisdom.
And I'll kind of work on composing a song. I'm kind of making an honest effort, trying to get details about what she's planning to do, and trying to work up some verses as we go.
Yeah, you guys are working some things out when she starts to look a little concerned. And this is where we're going to make her poison save, but we don't really need to. So let's talk about the poison you've done here. The typical DC for the irritation of this death cap is 30, but you double the dose, which increases the DC by 5, making it a DC 35 check. And since we're doing these odd con saves for this, it would be a D20 plus her con score, which the two together cannot exceed 35. Her con is only 14, so she is going to lose this, but thank God you doubled the dose, otherwise she would have passed it.
That's what I was afraid of, because I figured at 30 she could get a high roll and have a good con and make it.
Yep, and she would have, but she certainly does not make the 35. And you notice that there's like a rising of her sternum for a moment, and then a hand moves to the belly. She looks at her gear and bags and over at you and says, "Would you mind keeping an eye on these for me for just a moment? And then kind of gets up and quickly skirts her way. Woo, that's not how that worked. Across the tavern towards the privy.
All right. I will wait for her to go in. I will start to look a little bit concerned and start strolling over. I'm going to leave Sophie there, so I'm not calling quite as much attention with my cat on my shoulder. And I head over to the one that she's gone into here. Which is which one?
You will see it, in theory.
There we go.
Yep. You're right next to Three Strings, and you can hear him going on about sitting on the Group W bench and something about littering and convicts, but you're distracted.
All right.
She didn't even bother closing the doors leading into this. She just kind of left everything open. You can see her on her knees, hands or elbows really on the sitting part of this privy, trying to keep her hands off of it, but clearly bent over, hair behind her head, kind of.
All right, milady. Oh, I sound shocked. Oh my God! I'll step in.
She kind of motions away. Oh God!
I'll kneel down next to her and with my left hand, kind of hold her hair back.
She sort of swats at you, kind of don't be here, please, but is too focused on the task at hand and eventually gives up.
All right, so you're never quite as helpless as when you're right in the middle of a big puke. So I'll be saying reassuring things to her. And when she goes into another big puke, just as she finishes, I will slip my left hand over her mouth, pull her head up close, and go for the assassination dagger.
Okay, well, you will have advantage. You will have surprise. Her dex does not count when she is surprised or from behind, and all of this jazz. So her AC is going to it's going to be 10 plus armor.
All right,
which is
see
going to
how
be 11.
badly I can fail this.
Well, you have advantage on this, so you should be able to do it. You just need an 11. Woo! There you go. Either of those will work, and since she is surprised, it's also a critical.
All right, what am I rolling here? So
2d4
4
plus 66 plus 4?
All right.
No. 8d6. Oh my god.
Plus 2 more.
I think, hold on, let me double check that, because that's actually bad enough that she's going to survive it.
Well, but wait, but you said 2 more die.
I think so. I want to double check, because I'm not...
All right.
I'm doing things off of my brain, and I should be doing it off of paper. Oh my god, I can't believe you... It didn't... All of your other blows have been incredible damage. This is like all ones.
4 ones. Yeah, and the 2. Let's not forget the 2.
Oh, there's 1 5 in there.
Oh,
that's
and
like half
plus
the
I
damage.
forgot, and I forgot to add in the 5.
Oh, yeah, you need to add the 4 from your dex?
Plus 1 for the dagger.
Oh, right. So you need to add 5 more to that and another 2d6.
All right, let's see if that does it.
That brings us to 27 HP, which is 1 point shy.
Oh, dear Lord.
Cindy Cinders, you've got her hand...
I've got my hand over her mouth.
Her mouth. Blood is just like splurting everywhere, and she is thrashing in your arms, and the two of you need to roll initiative.
Dear God.
Oh my. Oh
Frickin' ones.
my. Cindy Cinders rolls an 11!
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh my god, okay. So here you are, in the Yawning Portal, trying to murder this poor woman. You've got her poisoned, you've got her in like this really vulnerable position where she's like puking everything up, and now you've got a hand over her, and you're trying to slit her throat, and it just didn't take. It just didn't take, and it's her turn. So her turn, she's going to make an opposed athletics check against you to try and break free of your grip. So give me an opposed athletics. To break a grapple, let's double check, because you might be able to do acrobatics too. Double check how to break a grapple. Where is that? Attack rolls, range. How do we break? It's not spell casting. How do we break a grapple? Search, help, ready, attack. Attack rolls, ranged attack, rolls. Healing, hit points, cover. Creature out. Break is either person grappling has to use athletics, while the person defending can use both. What chat is saying.
Okay, so I can use acrobatics, and also she's at...
No, you are the person doing the grapple, so you must use athletics, I think is what they're saying.
Also, she's... does she at least have disadvantage, given that she's puking and...
I'm going to say she will have disadvantage because you have her in an advantageous grip from behind, and she's like on her elbows and knees.
Plus, she also gets the minuses. I mean, that was the whole part of the rotation.
Yeah.
Being doubly irritated.
Yes. Where is... I just wanted to double check this because I can't find the grapple rules. Why can't I find the grapple rules?
She's incapacitated. Stats are reduced to 1/3.
She's not incapacitated. She's...
Oh, sorry. Irritated. Is what we're
irritated, yeah.
Hit penalties of 2. Okay. Damn it.
It's healing, dropping unconscious. Why can't I find... Alright, we're just going to use that then. So you have to use athletics. She gets to use acrobatics.
Oh, dear God. This isn't going to be good. But so does she have a -2 on that? At least?
Yeah, I'll give her a penalty of 2.
All right. And you said she gets disadvantage?
Maybe one or the other. Maybe not both. Well, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it both. It should be fine.
Oh, dear God.
Escaping a grapple. A grappled creature can use its action to do so. To do so, it must succeed on a... Yes. Oh, wow.
Dear freaking God.
Oh, my. So she gets acrobatics at disadvantage, which is the 17, and then -2 on that is 15. So she breaks free of your grip with her action, and gives a shout. Ah! And she will then action surge. Draw her. I'm gonna say the long sword is too long to be used in the privy. There's too many walls and everything. So she'll draw her short sword and try and run you through with it. With an 11, actually that should be a 9 because she has -2 to hit.
All right.
With a 9 to hit you. And it is your turn.
All right. Let's see if I can finish this very quickly. Dear freaking God.
You give a stab with your 9, and it hits her leather armor, and she rolls to the side with it. And it's time to start rolling initiatives for some of these other randoms in the crowd. Because the bard is going to come see what's happening. The painter is very invested in what's going on right now. The warlock and the wizard will also all join in.
Dear God, every freaking roll. Ah!
Let's see. Our bard is going at 20. Our warlock is going at 14. And our wizard is going at 6.
Might have been able to pull this off if I'd at least gotten that hit. Can't believe this.
All right, so the bard goes first. The music comes to a dead stop just as he's talking about, his final moments in the recruiting office. Comes over here, sees the engagement with the swords and the daggers and the bleeding and the puke everywhere. And he's gonna chill for a moment. Actually, he's not really gonna chill. He's going to backpedal and start shouting, "Oh my God, a fight! Turn in, do something!" As he backs down the hall. The warlock is gonna come over. How much movement does he have? Comes to there, down to here, pokes his head in. That's 30 feet. Sees the altercation. And, oh God, I need to look up. I didn't prepare character sheets for any of these NPCs because I figured you'd just execute this flawlessly.
Well, we've seen all these bad rolls I've been getting.
Yeah, but normally they're great rolls. It's so...
Well, normally I have some bad rolls, but everything is able to... I've made enough plans that there's something that takes care of it.
All right.
If I made even the last one, I still could have pulled this off.
The warlock will cast a spell on you. I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, crud.
That is definitely a pass. You are not held, although you can feel him trying to hold you with a hold person spell, and it's Cindy's turn. She realizes she's close to death. She will second wind. D10 plus 3, giving her 9 HP back. And then she will stab at thee with her short sword, which is a miss. And it is your turn there, assassin.
All right, I'm gonna. So when last we heard, I'd had extra daggers, one in each boot.
Oh yeah,
as well
daggers
as one
everywhere.
in my back. Yes, so I'm going to draw my extra dagger, and I'll have to use my bonus action for an offhand attack. It's gonna. Even then, it's not really great odds, but it's about the only chance I've got at this point is to try to double attack and put her down.
Go for it.
All right, I kind of need a crit right now.
Yeah, you do.
So first hand.
15's a hit.
All right.
That should be a D4 plus 5 because it's magic dagger.
I don't think there's any way I can get her down this round. 9.
Oh, bringing her back to 1 hit point.
Well, let's see if the offhand can do it. So this
All
is going
you
to
need is a hit.
be -1 from this. I don't have an offhand dagger. So it's 25.
There we go. You will skewer her with your offhand. It only does D4 damage. You don't get the Dex modifier on it because you're dual
But
wielding.
that's enough.
But D4 is enough to slump her unconscious to the ground. That's when the wizard will come on over. And I think the wizard can see you from where he's standing. And the wizard is gonna cast.
Well, I still have a move.
Oh, okay. I figured you weren't gonna use it because you're like there's a person in your way and you can't get past him.
I'll let let him have an attack of opportunity. I'm not worried about the warlock opportunity attack.
The warlock is in the doorway though, like blocking the doorway. You would need to push him out of the way. You need a shove action to get him out of your way.
All right, so that's a shove. So that's an action, not a move action. I can't.
Right, and you've already used your action, so you're sort of action economied out.
All right, I will. Okay, I'm gonna shout in using actor in Cindy's voice.
Uh-huh.
I got the warlock. He's casting spells at me. Help!
All right. The wizard comes over. He's looking, trying to see over the warlock's shoulder. There's clearly an altercation and blood.
I'm looking like shocked over at the warlock, and I'm gripping like I've been stabbed, and I'm pointing at the warlock. I'm saying, "Somebody, he's killed my friend." Deception?
Yeah. Give me a deception check at disadvantage.
All right, let's see if one roll will come out well.
Why not? Why not?
But I've got to be confusing the situation when her voice is calling out about the warlock.
Yeah, I mean, she did start screaming about murder. Oh, God. Before the warlock showed up at all. And I think the wizard is on to your deception here. And will pick an appropriate spell. Like... Oh, that's too big of a spell. Where's it hiding here? No, that's not it. I kind of thought there was a 3rd level single target spell. Is there not a 3rd level single target attack spell?
but would he have it? I mean, if you're a wizard, your 3rd level spell is Fireball.
I guess he doesn't have that. So instead, we will go with... We're going to go with Scorching Ray. You create 3 rays of fire and hurl them at targets within range. You can hurl them at one target or at several. Make a ranged spell attack for each ray. On a hit, they take 2d6 fire damage. So he is like 6th level, so he's probably got 3 and 6 plus 6 to hit. Maybe plus 7. Oh, it's definitely plus 7. So d20 20 plus 7. 1, 2, 3. So it looks like 2 hits against you.
Ouch.
For 46 damage.
No,
For 13 against
can
you.
I uncanny dodge any of that?
What does Uncanny Dodge do for you?
When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to have the attack's damage against you.
Yes. So you can have it's 3 separate attacks. You can have the 8 down to 4, so you can take 9 instead of 13.
All right.
And then we roll back around to the Bard, who's still shouting for Durham and running over towards Durham. I will add the bartender now, who goes very poorly, 2. The Warlock goes. Hold Person spell did not work, so he's going to step it up a little bit here. Come on, Warlock. He will create a cloud of daggers in a 5-foot cube on each side, right where the 2 of you are hanging out. Creature takes 44 damage when it enters the spell's area for the first time or starts its turn there. No save? Is it just pure damage? Ooh, that's actually pretty good. Okay.
Does it have any rolls to hit, or it's just like automatic?
I think Cloud of Daggers is just automatic damage if you enter the space or start your turn there. So it's easily avoidable, but if you don't avoid it...
It's 4d4?
4d4. Yeah, I'm just going to double check the text of the document to make sure You can survive 44, can't you? That's 9 damage. 10 damage.
Yeah.
Cloud of Daggers. Oh yeah, no save, no nothing. So Cindy goes first, and Cindy will take 44 damage, which will cause her to fail a death saving throw, and then she will make a death saving throw. She's already got 1 failure and 1 pass, and she takes a bunch of damage. And it is your turn, Assassin. You will take 44 damage as well.
Okay, is this another round?
Yes. So you've taken 11 and 9.
So I can use my reaction against it again?
It was at the start of your turn, so you haven't had your reaction yet.
Okay.
You'll get it at the end of... You'll be able to use it for the next round. But it is your turn. You're in the privy.
All right. I'm going to use what kind of action does it take to put on my gloves?
I would say that will be your 1 free object interaction.
All right. So then I still can dash and use my bonus action?
Sure.
All right. So I assume there's a decent ceiling here. In the end. I mean, it's got a giant portal.
Yeah, definitely. There's a ceiling here.
All right, I want to go up the wall, over the head of Warlock.
So you want to climb up and over and around him instead of having to push through him. You want to spider your way out. I guess it's 10 feet all over the place. Doorways usually a little bit less. I'll give you an acrobatics check to get past him. because he is a warlock. He's not a fighter. He's not holding the zone with a spear or anything.
All right. Let's see
Your
here.
very best acrobatics check.
And if he wants to attack of opportunity with a dagger, let him. All right. Acrobatics.
There you go. That's enough to get over him. He will get his opportunity attack with his little rod off. Let me roll that and roll 20. D20 plus 3 for 5, I would guess. No, it's a swipe at your ankles, which completely misses, and you're up and over and out.
All right. And I go over to here, however many feet that is. Are these 2.5 foot squares?
Yes, that's about 30 feet plus the original 5. So you're at like 35 feet of movement thus far. That's
right.
the Yawning Portal. That is a couple 100-foot drop down into darkness.
Oh my god, yes it is. And it gets very dark down there. I drop down, Spider-Man onto the wall with my gloves. And I'm just going to start climbing straight down.
All right.
And I've got a fairly good amount of movement left since I've got dash plus cunning action.
All right.
Total of 90 feet of movement. So I go down 65 feet.
You can go down 65 feet. The wizard goes next.
What's the range of, even if someone does have dark vision, looking down into the darkness?
Usually
Like-
around 60-ish feet, right? But it's not like there's magical
65
darkness. It's still like a lit in room, and then at 60 feet is pretty far down.
65 feet. I got 60, literally, since you said 35 feet. Since you
No,
said
that
30
doesn't. You can move a total of 90 feet. So 30 feet. You've gone 55.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you're right.
55. So the wizard gets to the edge, looks down, sees the assassin quickly scaling down the wall, and takes a moment to decide, well, do I attack him here, or do I just wait for him to try and come back up? And just watches and gives you a little wave. The bartender will also make his way over to the wall, looking down at you, as will a few of the other denizens. They've just, more or less seen what's going on, and they make their way to the lip of the well to watch the assassin head down. And this is really only one way up and down. You actually, as you're climbing and you're looking up, you can see that there's like a pulley system and a bucket to like lower people down. You're clearly taking the hard way. And they are okay with that. They're just gonna let you descend into the well. And I think with that, we're gonna go to our final break here. And when we come back, I think we're just gonna do a little question and answer bit, because you've killed Cindy, that was the goal, and you've escaped to almost certain death, but that is a story for an almost certain death.
Or will I just come up level 16?
You might come up level 16 in 4 months, and no one will be able to stop you. But that is a story for another day. We're going to take our break, and when we come back, we'll answer some questions and have a bit of a chit chat. So see you then.
All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Assassin. Except there's no more assassinating. It's assassined out.
I like to think the next series is going to be the assassin gets a job in the Undermountain. Because how many times have you been like, here's this group of bad guys, and they have a human assassin working for them or something like that, who's part of their group.
Right.
You're assuming that I would be at odds with these people, the evil people in the Undermountain.
Well, maybe we'll see. I think the Waterdeep module drops in like 8 days. Maybe there'll be a secret assassin somewhere in there. I don't know.
Seems to me a lot of groups, down there would probably want to employ some human in order to lull, say, an adventuring group into a false sense of security. Oh, thank you for rescuing me from these people. They left me for dead. I know something about the rest of the complex, and I can warn you about some traps up ahead, as so many NPCs that you rescue can do, except everything I tell you is going to be a lie.
Well, you'll have to check out the module to see if that's in there for realsies. I expect it to be. That's what people are talking about. So we finished our 12 sessions of Assassin. This is the final one. So do any of you viewers have any questions or anything you'd like us to elaborate on? We're happy to do a little cool down Q&A chatter about whatever. Or if you have any questions for Rob or I as individuals, we're here for. I'm going to start us off,
Job offers.
Job offers, that's true. I'm going to start us off with a short story. This last weekend, I was out with some friends at a housewarming party, and they said, Neal, I know that you're a professional DM, so if you don't want to do this, feel free to say no, but would you be willing to run our in-person D&D game for the 12 of us or whatever? Then they proceeded to bribe me with this here little goblet mug that they found at some random secondhand store that already had my name. I don't know if that's going to show up a little bit, properly engraved. I spell my name Neal, which is the less common spelling. And they found this little perfect mug with my name already engraved on it and used it to bribe me. So I'll now be running a bi-monthly game in the real world. Yeah, I'm hoping not everybody shows up at every given session.
I'd say that's like Last Supper numbers.
I know, it's a lot. There were like 9 of us there, plus my wife will probably attend, and then there were like 2 other people who couldn't make the housewarming party. 12 people is going to be a lot. And I'm really hoping that only about half the people show up every given session.
Just have to kill off.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fine. But it's nice being bribed to run games for people with this handy dandy little pewter mug. And that's my story.
Awesome.
So Rob, why don't you tell us what was your favorite mission and why?
Oh. You know what? I actually want to say it was probably the final one, taking out the count.
The final countdown?
Yes.
The 7th mission? Why?
I think it was kind of fun having the countdown timer, having to work really quickly. It was, and I also, having to go undercover and interact with everybody, trying to pull my way out. And then I was sure I was dead. I thought I was a goner in that room.
Me
but
too.
Making the last minute escape, kind of like I did today. When I was sure I was gone, I felt pretty good about not dying.
I was thoroughly impressed. Managed to make it out of there. It seemed like you were, how do I say, maybe a little frustrated with how quickly you had to do everything with that one? Or was that just my perception of it?
I wasn't really frustrated. It felt like it was going I mean, if it felt if I'd had as much time as I wanted, I might have like tried to, more. Okay, I'll replace one of these guys and try to disguise myself as him and things. But
Right.
it did work pretty well. I thought to just to go very quickly and didn't have much time, but try to make it work.
Mm-hmm. And which mission did you find to be the most difficult or the most frustrating?
Most frustrating.
Yeah, if any. That might all have been easy for you.
Might say in a way, kind of this last one, because there weren't as many options of what I could do. So it felt like, okay, there's really only one path here. I couldn't really think of anything else aside from poisoning her and trying to take her out in the lavatory.
Right.
And without that, if he'd said like people got to go out the back and use the alley, I would have been like, oh, right.
Okay. Cool. See, it doesn't seem like chat has any questions for us. Do you have any questions or curiosities that you'd like answered?
Well, since we've got a whole group of people that don't know you, how did you get started in D&D? When I met you, you already had a big old collection of books, and saw your second edition books up there on a bookshelf. Seeing you had a pretty darn good collection.
I did. So I got interested in playing D&D because when I was a little kid, like elementary school, junior high era, most of my friends were the older kids in the neighborhood. And so I would hang out with them. And one time, all the older kids were hanging out and playing D&D, and I wasn't allowed to play because I, showed up late and I wasn't part of the party, and I was the little kid at the table. And I remember them talking about like there are all these dwarves and they've got to like run across the open land and like hide in this ditch, and there was some sort of epic combat going on, and I was like, oh my god, this sounds like so much fun. And so I pestered one of my older friends who was part of the party to like play D&D with me until eventually he caved and like ran a short session.
Designed to kill you so you'd leave him alone.
Sort of. I mean, it was designed to be like, whatever, have some fun with it. I don't know. It was an adventure about someone who's like, some pants bandit had come in and stolen all of their pants in the town. And this might sound familiar because I've run a similar storyline before in Shenanigans. And we had a little bit of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. My friend clearly was not having it. It was like...
Wait, what? So, an older kid was running a scenario with you based around...
Pants being stolen.
Pants being stolen.
Yeah.
Is this when your PTSD kicked up?
No.
Time around then in repressed memories?
Nothing like that, no.
Okay.
It was a silly story, and we were like chasing people on the rooftops trying to get back at this. I think it was like based off of... Oh god. Do you know the anime Ranma 1/2?
I like know that it exists and
Okay.
and like the basic premise of it. I've never seen it.
I think the main character, the villain, was based off of the grandpa from that, who's like this, martial arts master, but like pervy old man who goes around like stealing underwear. And that was like the inspiration for the character. There was clearly a lot of crossover. Ranma was a big anime from my childhood. Loved it. Anyway, so then he eventually was like, here's the tools, like here's the adventure modules and character sheets and stuff. Like, why don't you go play with your other friends? And so we started playing for a little while, and then my mom, somewhere in junior high, got me like actual books, and then it's been D&D ever since. Somewhere in junior high, which would have been like 98 or 99. So it's been 20 years.
Your parents actually went out. Your mom actually went out and got you books.
Yeah. I told her what books I needed, and she got them on eBay because they were like second edition books that were out of print. So she got me a player's handbook, a monstrous manual, and a DMG. And my friends and I picked him up. Ryan, who you might know from Dicing with Death, or Hardcore Heroes, or Frozen Frontier, or the occasional appearance in Shenanigans. We picked up the books, had no idea what any of it meant, and just spent all of junior high like learning how to play by guessing at the books, and then eventually reading the books, and then sort of sorting things together. And yeah, we were also big Dragonlance fans. Huge. I mean, you can see behind this ball, like this entire mid shelf is filled with Dragonlance books, and that's a Dragonlance poster, and over there's another Dragonlance poster, and you know, so we started just playing D&D and never looked back. Yep. How'd you get started, Rob?
I was a freshman, and you know, I was in a new high school, and of course you're like just trying to meet people and just, you know, making new groups of friends and things. Because it was like a 2,000 person high school compared to like the 30 eighth graders I was with.
Right.
And so I met some people that gamed, and we started off just sort of gaming at lunch. I got handed a pre-generated character, and you know, introduced to the game, and there were some other people that were in the group that had like, I have my 40th level wizard and everything. Which I was like, oh my god, I was just like in complete awe of these characters they had. But of course, that they had like everything, you know, Robe of the Magi or Staff of Power and all that stuff. And I just assumed that, of course, they must have like played it all the way from the beginning and got all of it. Blah blah blah.
What was this? First edition? Second edition?
I guess this was advanced.
Ooh, first advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, the books we've run into this on Shenanigans where my books weren't the same as yours, and I just assumed these were second edition because I thought of basic as first edition.
Right, but they did go basic, advanced. Then there was a second edition and a second advanced, but I've never seen just second edition before, so I don't even know.
Yeah, so these are like the classic. The old, very, very classic, the big demon with the thing. He used to be on the Dungeon Masters screen too. And then I even got my hands on the old chainmail rules. So like the ultimate the prequel to Dungeons and Dragons. So I had that even.
You're lying around. But yeah, these were my covers. This was my player's handbook and my monstrous manual. I mean, not spiral bound, but you know, same book.
Yeah, I had an old classic DMG too, but that disappeared. Somewhere we used to, I don't know, we used to have gaming, and we would all our books. Everybody would, of course, bring their books, and I think this was even in college in the 90s where I was running a campaign, and somehow my DMG must have gone with somebody, or I must have lent it to somebody, and it never came back.
Resurfaced. Yeah, that happens.
I still have some of the old original basic die. I think I've held those up at Shenanigans. The ones old basic set came with a crayon, so you could color in the numbers so you could see them better.
Because they were just like cast die without any colors in them. Nice. Very
cast
classic.
In the sense of being just molded plastic. Let's see if I can find some of these and hold up the old school die that had to roll uphill both ways in the snow. I have a few hanging out. Not in this set, I guess. Thought I did, but nope. I don't have them with me right here.
Well, there have been a few questions to roll into chat, so I'm going to start going through them while you look for dice.
All right, let's see what we got here then.
What was the mission giver's plan for Rob when he was done? This is a solo one-shot adventure with no plans in either direction anyway. So if you're talking about today's session, no such thing exists. If you're talking about generally speaking, through the main canon section of the adventure, you get this assassin to run amok for you because, Malchus is trying to upset the world, and when you're done, you cut him loose, let him go do his own thing, or kill him, or not kill him. Like, it doesn't matter. The point was to cause problems and stir up trouble. And if you just leave an assassin free and running around, you're just going to cause more trouble and stir up more stuff. So, no real plan for him once he's done. Use him to cause mischief and move on.
Yeah, I had planned. I mean, I didn't really know it was going to happen, but I had imagined, because I tend to play fairly good characters, and this was kind of a thing for me in concept. And so I was trying to plan out an arc where the assassin became more troubled and would eventually turn on the architects, like maybe at the end or something. But as we saw, he never seemed to really get any crises of conscience.
Yeah, he was kind of okay with killing everything. Yeah.
I tried to work out a backstory so that I wouldn't feel as bad about this, and kind of John Wick everything with a cat to try to make him seem less despicable.
Sophie was your one saving grace.
Yes.
If it wasn't for Sophie, you would just be like a murdering psychopath. But this love for this cat is the one redeeming factor that makes him relatable somehow. Worked out well, I thought.
I had suggested for this last session, this wasn't planned, but for the last session, I was suggesting to Neal, we have enough time. It could turn out that Sophie is actually like some sort of polymorphed villain, and the last plot could be that Sophie is missing, and I'm trying to rescue Sophie, and it turns out the people I'm trying to rescue from, that is Sophie and her organization. She's a criminal mastermind.
Which I would have loved, but there just wasn't time to do it all, unfortunately. Yeah. There was a question from New Branch. Did the Count's dwarven bodyguard get the blame? Only he saw the assassin that he claimed killed the Count. Well, the Count's son also died, and his other bodyguard went missing. So no, the dwarven bodyguard did not get the blame at all. But that part of the world is destabilized, yeah. Which brings us to my butt reeks.
I could handle that off camera, Neal.
I could have, but I didn't want to. Who asked, are these assassinations linked to the ones taking place in Eridon during Hardcore Heroes? Yes, is the answer. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Assassin takes place in my own homebrew world, and as part of a much longer storyline, which is, like, all the campaigns that I run are all taking place in this world and are all sort of sequential and interlocking and interwoven. So yes, this is what was happening in the east of Eridon during the events of Hardcore Heroes. If you were to watch Hardcore Heroes or the Georg and Dyson with Death storyline, you would see all of a sudden there's all these assassinations that start cropping up with all these nobles, and it takes the party a while to figure out who's doing it and why, and then things spiral out of control. And this right here is our sort of like filler backstory for how things begin to get out of control.
I think my first time on your channel ended up being one of those. I didn't realize it at the time. It was just sort of a one shot you did that ended up being a filler backstory. Other people were like, oh, they're the ones who did whatever.
Yep. I try and link. My goal as a DM is to run campaigns for as long as I'm doing this and have them all sort of sequentially interlocked in the same world, so that if you were to watch all of my content, all of the campaigns I run, it would actually tell the story of the continent of Eridon over the ages. As if you were reading, like, the history of this fictional world, and all these events pop up. That's what all the campaigns are. So the idea is to make one super epic story of all these separate campaigns. Similar to, I guess, any sort of, like, cinematic universe or ongoing extended series sort of thing. That's the plan.
Just like Marvel, except the special effects are your imagination.
Yeah, and I'm gonna hold my tongue, but most of the Marvel movies I've seen, I have had a hard time finishing because they're just really poorly everythinged.
Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok. That one.
Didn't see it. There were a few that stand up really well. You know, the first Iron Man was really solid. There are a few of them that are really, really good, and then a bunch that are just like, this is dumb. This is really, really dumb.
Yeah, I reached the point where I was just so tired of them. It's just like, they're just like, well, let's have a fist fight, but it's halfway through the movie, so we all know this fist fight's going to resolve nothing. And, you know, we're going to fail to do anything effectual because that's not going to happen until the end. And the punching didn't stop anything, but now suddenly this punch is able to fell the villain when the 50 punches before it did nothing.
I'm a doctor and a surgeon, but somehow, instantly, I'm a martial arts master when the enemy starts attacking. You know?
But Thor Ragnarok was like, that was just like, so you're sick of Marvel movies? Well, guess what? This is a Marvel movie off the rails.
Oh.
And just hilarious, not taking itself seriously. It was like serious at points. It was just wonderfully goofy at others. I recommend it. And it's on Netflix.
Good to know. Apparently this episode is semi-sponsored by Marvel? I don't know. We're sponsored by many things here. Rob, were there any movies or TV shows or game-related assassins that you were channeling while you RP'd your assassin? Where did you get your inspiration from, Rob? Tell us about your creative process.
You know, I don't know if I really had any, because I sat down to make, like I said, I was feeling kind of squicky about the idea of like, I'm just going to assassinate people and many of whom don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know, normally I play very good characters. I know at one point in Shenanigans, you were like, the rest of the party is kind of chaotic, evil, Rob. I'm glad you're there to try to keep them from just being complete murder hobos. You know, kind of like, maybe we shouldn't kill these kids.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I got to come up with some sort of backstory that, like, I can kind of feel like he's got a reason. Even it's sort of understandable, but although it's not the right response, but you can kind of get it. Mm-hmm. So I was just casting about. I think we worked through, I tossed a few ideas at Neal. And I thought I was going to be playing everything super serious, but I think just because of the relationship Neal and I have through Shenanigans and just our own, like, goofing around, I couldn't
hard to stay serious. It's hard to stay serious, yeah. It was good, though. Next question, not really a question, but I find 1v1 sessions like this quite good when it's involving the rogue class. I feel it's a class that needs some lonely time to really shine, which is hard to get when there's a whole group playing, yada yada. Yeah, I actually really enjoy the 1v1 format. When I was telling how I got into D&D, my first D&D session ever was one-on-one, and then, like, all of my sessions the next few years were one-on-one with one GM and one player, and we'd play until a character died or until someone else had an idea, and then we'd switch roles, and if I was DMing, then I would play and my friend would DM, and that's kind of the process we've done and continue to do to this day. Another campaign I do, Dicing with Death, we go until a character dies or until someone gets a better idea, and we'll switch roles. And so you'll get like 10 sessions of me playing this, and then 2 sessions of him playing that, and then half a session of me playing this other character because they die really, really quickly to hobgoblins, and then like 30 sessions of him doing this, and we switch back and forth, and it's fun. I really like the 1v1 format. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. What happened to Sophie?
That was my one concern, because like, hey, I could go down into the Undermountain and get a job, and I was like, how do I get Sophie back? They're gonna be watching the pit here. I mean, I could try to disguise myself and come back up at some point, maybe after everyone's gone to sleep. That was my concern. What happens to Sophie?
I think Sophie's fine.
I kind of Sophie's a survivor.
Her human's gone, but like, there are plenty of other people around, that she's gonna get a lot of fish. Maybe eventually she'll look for her human, but like, whatever. Maybe she'll just like hang out in the tavern until her human comes back. She's not waiting for her human, but the tavern's comfortable, it's...
I think for anybody who uses the Waterdeep module from now on out in your Forgotten Realms campaign or whatever, that it's now has to be canon that there is a cat named Sophie who has a mysterious background, who hangs out in the Yawning portal there, and people take care of her. Nobody questions her for some reason.
She's just there. Fine.
Yeah.
I like that. Good story.
I think it's canon now. For all you who go off and play that module at some point.
Crazy Killer asks, Neal, will we see the assassin in the new Hardcore Heroes episodes or in other future campaigns? Probably not. The assassinations that Rob did here happened in the early to mid days of Hardcore Heroes. So in the later days, which we're going through right now, the assassinations are already all done. That plot has kind of finished itself. The world is destabilized. If you're caught up with the live episodes, you'll see that they did their work beautifully. I don't want to give spoilers for anyone, but all of the plans have succeeded, and the world is thrown into chaos, and we'll just leave it at that.
I hope the Hardcore Heroes aren't trying to like restabilize all the work that I've done.
They were attempting. They didn't really realize what was going on, since they were a series of like loose assassinations, until like, holy crap, this person's dead, and this person's dead, and this person's dead, and there was an attempt on this person's life, and then they were trying maybe to stabilize the area and get things working, and sort of made things worse.
I was about to say, like, after I thought, like, oh no, they're not trying to fix it. I'm thinking of like every party of adventurers in your games. They could try to do something like this, like, oh, let's fix the problem with the world, and I wouldn't be worried about this.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing a good job. They were making actual real progress. They were stabilizing this region and that region, and they were sort of doing some good things. And I cover your ears if you don't want spoilers for this for 5 seconds, but they left an interdimensional portal open by accident, and caused problems. Enough said on that one.
It just seems like in a lot of the campaigns, it's like, they've really invested in these characters, they've worked this all out, and they're trying to create the RP things, and then they all get killed by goblins.
Yeah.
They tend to mess up and get over that.
Let's see. Pro says, one of my best campaigns was a one-on-one set in Krob. It's all about honor. We switched the player roles every session. In the end, I was forced to kill the woman I loved, and he committed suicide. Yeah, one-on-one sessions are great. Because if you think of a 4-player session, which is the default, sort of, and a fun way of doing things, it's wonderful. But when you do it one-on-one, all of that extra time, you get to work on your character, your plans, you get really detailed with NPCs because they've got so much extra time to chat since you don't have 4 people talking over each other all the time. Assassin, maybe not so much because you're killing every NPC you meet. And with the exception of Ripley and Sophie, no one really carries over from one session to the other. But the one-on-one format allows for a lot of really interesting depth in your campaigns. I highly recommend it, especially if you're having trouble finding a full group to play with. You just do a one-on-one game. It's amazing.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun running a one-on-one with a friend way back in the day because I wanted to play Star Frontiers, and I could only find one person. Other people were like, ah. I found one person, and we ran a lot of solo stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Star Frontiers?
Yes, I'm old. It was a Dungeons and Dragons TSR space game that was just like really could have been done a lot better, but it was what we had. If we didn't want to play Traveler. But I had a 3-person campaign, and that I found worked really well.
Did you guys have to fight off the Kodan Armada and Zur?
That's the last Starfighter.
Are they not the same?
No, this was called Star Frontiers.
That's not the same as the last Starfighter. Because in the last Starfighter, they are defending the frontier. No?
No, this was a old back when D&D was made by TSR game with, back when the mechanics, didn't always make a lot of sense. I think, and it was just everything was. But it was what we had. They had their knockoff Wookiees and.
What would have happened if if the assassin completely failed in killing someone? So I was thinking that if the assassin completely failed, they didn't kill the person, and the assassin escaped, that the mission would continue, but now with heightened surveillance and heightened awareness, and like we would come back the next session and try it again, but now that the person knows that they're being hunted, and it would be way harder.
That's kind of what happened with although he didn't realize I tried to assassinate him, the paladin the first paladin on the docks that I made that nifty trap.
Oh, the cleric on the dock, yeah.
Yeah.
Reginald Silver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he made his saving throw.
Yeah.
He just didn't realize that I tried to kill him.
It was close. It just seemed like a broken dock instead of a murder.
Which was the plan.
Yeah. However, had the assassin died, all of the assassin stuff would have been taken, and I think we would have started over with a level 1 assassin who's now like in a much more difficult situation where it's like, oh, I have to take out a 5th level paladin as a 1st level assassin, and the whole campaign probably would have slowed down a lot while we struggled with this new killer in a odd environment, in a over their head environment. I think it would have been interesting and fun, but quite difficult. Quite difficult. Do you think you could have done that paladin mission with a 1st level rogue?
I would have had to resort to something that I had originally been planning, but I didn't end up really doing much. In hiring other people to help out in various ways. Like, I only really ended up doing that in a few places, like with hiring the prostitutes and the count mission. But I had considered going in that I might need to do things like hire thugs. Yeah.
Well, so I based a lot of this campaign and a lot of the principles of this campaign on the declassified 1960 something CIA handbook called a manual of assassination, which was the CIA's work saying, like, look, we shouldn't kill people. It's not morally justifiable. But if we're going to do it, this is how you do it, so you do it well. And it was, declassified through a Freedom of Information Act request. And in there, they do all this classification. One of the things we never got around to checking out, though, was the safe versus lost missions. You'll see it on the overlay right now. It's always been tagged as safe. And one of the options that we never really ended up using, and I think we only talked about in the pregame and it never came up again, was the option of using a lost mission. A safe mission is one in which the assassin survives and escapes, and a lost mission is one in which the assassin dies during the attempt. According to the manual of assassination, you should never have a captured assassin. They should either escape or they should die in the process. And so there was this option for our assassin here to like kind of make the plans and then like hire someone or find a fanatic about something to go and then complete the assassination with the expectation that they would die in the process. It didn't actually end up coming up, but that was one of the things that we could have done, would be to have our assassin here like figure out how to go about these things and like find someone who's fanatically on their side and send them in to do it, expecting them to perish, which would have been a lost mission.
Well, that in a way was kind of my backup plan for the Stagecoach assassination. Was I had tried to set that town, that one sort of religious fanatic town, to want to kill the foreigner that I'd been like basically spreading bad rumors about.
Right.
So that if I failed to kill him and we got to the town, then I didn't know that they would kill him, but I figured they would create a lot of disruption, and that might give me an opportunity, even if they themselves didn't put him in the cage and boil him over the geyser.
Aldrin, one of my favorite towns. Those people are sadistic murderers, but they do it with such style. Boiling people in a burning geyser, like, what a way to execute people. Love the folks over at Cauldron. Well, that is it for questions. Any final words, Rob?
I don't know. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. I mean, I certainly had fun. This was... I've really enjoyed playing with Neal over not how many years it's been now.
8.
And...
8 and a half. Because we started playing right around the time that I met and started dating my wife. So it's been about 8.5 years.
Yeah, and...
Yeah,
our
anniversary is my wife's and mine anniversary. Wow, it's a double date.
I'm sure I'm welcome to tag along.
Definitely not. There'll just be the three of us, and you and I will have our moment. Oh, our first D&D game, and then I'll turn to her and be like, "Oh, our first date." It's fine. It's not weird. Let it happen.
Yeah. So we had some campaigns. I had a blast playing with Neal and the group back then, and then he moved away, and so when he approached me sometime after, when you were getting your channel together, and you asked me to be in that little one-shot session you had, I thought that was a lot of fun. That was my first introduction to doing online D&D, and it was fun to play again with Justin, and it was that seemed sort of a proto shenanigans episode. It ended up being. Yep.
It definitely ended up being a proto shenanigans episode.
I don't
actually remember much about that campaign, that session.
You had an NPC tell us that we needed to deal with the hobgoblin presence.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so my character and then everybody else went in on it. We willfully misinterpreted that to be presence, Presents, And there was something about the way you would put it. We also interpreted that to mean somebody had to seduce the Hobgoblin King.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep. Those were...
Yeah, so it became a very awkward encounter with the Hobgoblin King, and we were like trying to determine, wait, where are the presents? Are these the presents?
If that sounds like your sort of campaign, basically every Saturday we have a campaign called Shenanigans. It's each week is its own standalone episode that's not really linked to anything else, and they are rarely serious. They're often silly. Sometimes they are a headache to watch because they're too off the rails, and other times they're the greatest thing that's ever been made. It's a wonderful program. You can find on my channel, twitch.tv/Koibu, on Saturdays at noon Pacific time. But I think there's probably other content here on D&D on that same hour. So it's...
They can always watch the VODs.
Of one of them, yeah. New Branch says they were disappointed that the immovable rod was never used. I too thought some of these magic items would get a little more use, but oh well.
Yeah, Neal did point out to me what I should have done with the sleeping dwarven bodyguard was like just sort of maybe lay the rod across his chest or maybe like right over his head, so that when he woke up and he's like, "Rah!" like trying to get up and can't get up and get a little
just held him in place with the rod.
Yeah, which was a good idea, and I hadn't thought of it. I every idea I had with the rod, things never quite turned out. I was going to use it to try to trip a galloping horse or things like that, but it just happened.
It just goes to show you, DMs, don't give your players magical items because they'll never use them. And if you don't give them, then they'll complain that you didn't give them to them. And if you do give them to them, they're not going to use them. It's a lose-lose situation. Your players will never be happy with you. Just kill them all. Solution. I guess that's it for us and for Assassin. If you want to find more of me or Rob, you can do so on my channel, twitch.tv/Koibu, or my YouTube or SoundCloud, where the MP3 files are. Rob will make his occasional shenanigans appearances. And I should be back on this channel with Misclick's Risen sometime. And probably something else in the spring or winter, which we'll just leave for then. But...
I say don't try to look for me on Twitch. People have done it. They've been disappointed because it's literally just a profile I made so that I could comment in the chat and shenanigans. I'm not in anything else. Like I said, I'm just a friend of Neal's that he brought in.
Just a friend of Neal's? Come on now, that is a high honor. You know, that's the American equivalent of being knighted.
Well, other people were friends of Neal's and streamers and had things to push. Whereas I was just some dude.
Just some... Well, we're all just some dudes or dudettes.
I was about to say, I think 51% of us are not just some dude.
Yeah. That's it. We're out. We will see you somewhere, sometime, and I will give you one last playthrough.
When you least expect it.
Yes. And I'll give you one last playthrough of the Assassin intro, because I really like that intro, and I'm going to be sad I don't get to use it again. So, goodbye.
Bye, everybody.